everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Zee Garcia.
And I'm Camilla.
Today we're taking a look at Run, 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 second edition here from 25th Century Games. This is a cooperative game in which you play cat-venturers. That would be a cat adventurer, in case that wasn't readily apparent. Fighting up against some mummies who are waking up in these, I guess, Egyptian tomb, and you are trying to keep them at bay while the big bad wakes up and you take him out. I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. This is like I said, a second edition of a game that came out a little bit ago from a company called The Flying Game, if I'm not mistaken. They've changed some stuff up. This is not really going to be a comparison video. We're taking a look at this in a vacuum. Honestly, because most people haven't played that game, so it doesn't really matter, okay? So let's go ahead and show you what it looks like on the table, give you an overview. We'll be right back. Here's the game set up for 3 players, each one of them playing one of these cat-venturers, and we've already actually taken a turn with each of them, so the board is a little bit developed beyond the starting tile right here. The way you win this game is by defeating the big bad right here when they wake up, and the way you wake them up is by creating configurations of tiles on the board and triggering these mechanisms. 3 of these will wake them up for easy mode, 4 or 5 for hard or very hard, respectively. So 3 of these would do it if you're just learning the game. You are also going to be contending with these mummies that are going to be waking up as their hearts fill, and they'll be jumping into the game and giving you trouble, each one represented by one of these wooden meeples. What you are attempting to do, like I said, is open up these mechanisms by creating specific configurations. You're trying to conserve your torchlights and necessarily sometimes combating the mummies with these dice right here. So like I said, every player starting with the center one has already taken 1 turn, and now we're back to this player who is going to be taking a turn from the top, and I'll show you how that goes. So the very first thing you are going to do is roll the dice for the mummies. We begin with a single die, but it is possible that you would be rolling more of these. So we're going to roll that, and you are either going to get a blank side or you are going to get this little sort of mummy side for each face. For each one of these symbols you rolled, every mummy that is on the board, which is none right now, would move 1 step closer to this area right here. And if they ever enter that area, then you are going to all collectively lose the game. And then once you've done that and moved everyone for each one of these you rolled, you put a heart on the next mummy. This is a stack of tiles, so you are putting 1 on here. Right now we would add 1 more. There's already a couple. When it gets to the 5th, that mummy will wake up. You will slide off the 5 hearts. You will reveal that tile, and that mummy then has 5 health that you are ideally going to be fighting and knocking off of there. So that's the first thing. You roll the dice and deal with that. The second thing you are doing then is taking an action, and the actions are going to be one of 3 things on your turn. You can explore, you can fight, or you can cooperate. Now, cooperate is going to be a really rare one. You can only cooperate 3 times in the entire game, and it basically entails the players choosing to come to your tile, no matter how far away they are, and then revealing one of these tiles and getting a little bonus, but there's only 3 of these for the entire game. You're not going to be doing that a whole lot. You'll be doing it up to 3 times. So then the other ones are explore and fight. When you choose to explore, you can choose to play one of these tiles somewhere out here. You have to line up the entrances, and you may not block something. So this is legal because both of these line up with entrances, but this is not legal because I would be blocking that one right there. So you can put out one of these. You are then going to move your cat to that location, as long as it is up to 3 spaces away. And if it's farther than that, then you would discard tiles from your hand to make up that difference. And you also need to light that tile if it does not have a torch. Some of them come with a pre-printed torch on there. Some of them need that. So I would perhaps put that there. I can move 1 space and get there, so that's fine. And then I need to make sure that I light that spot up. Now, various other things might happen, based on me creating a specific configuration. So like I said, I'll scoot these guys a little bit out of the way. If I ever create a trio of tiles, and it does not matter the paths between them, they do not have to be connected, just a corner that has, 3 tiles. If they're all 3 different, and these are the 3 possible symbols, by the way. So if I did that, then I'm going to earn one of these mechanisms. And that is, again, progress I'm making towards waking up the big bad, which is one of those 3 guys, by the way. But I don't know which one because it's random. And then fighting them, ideally. Again, stopping them from getting over here. So this is going to help me do that. The other thing you can do is, it's 3 different or 3 of a kind. If I get 3 of the same symbol, then instead I'll get one of these, which is going to replenish my torches and let me basically stay in the game. This is sort of a life-saving move that you sometimes have to make. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. I will place that piece there. All the placements are legal. I'm going to move 1, 2 in there. I have to light up that tile. And that is, in fact, the 3 different symbols. So from the shuffled stack, I would put one of these here in the middle, but I need to see what it is. I'm going to flip this over, and there's going to be some kind of penalty. In this case, get rid of 3 tiles. So the players need to figure out then 3 tiles that we are getting rid of, and then once you've suffered that penalty, then you flip this over, and you are now a little bit closer to winning the game. With that done, and having taken an explore action, you are going to draw a tile. You always conclude your turn by drawing a tile. So second option then is these mummies eventually will wake up. All right, when we roll enough of these, and you'll have 5 health on here. Any leftover health, by the way, on a single roll will spill over to the next mummy. So this guy would wake up, and then you slide off the health. You flip him over, and you are going to find the matching piece and put him anywhere out here you want. Ideally, as far away from this tile as you can. So you can put him right there. Their only sole objective is to get to that room and trigger this cataclysmic curse. So they are ignoring you. You would have to choose to deal with them. This fella also has an extra die. So while he's around, you're going to be rolling an extra one of these. And it also says that he moves 1 more time than he normally would. So great, this guy's fast also. And so now the players can choose to fight. So if it was my turn here again and I chose to fight him, I can move, first of all, up to 3 spaces again and discard for more. So even if I was over here, I could get to him, 1, 2. And then I'm going to discard a tile, counts the number of entrances or exits, basically openings, and that's how many dice I'll be rolling. So, for example, let's say I get rid of that one. It has 3. Fantastic. I discard that, and I'm going to be rolling 3 of these dice. That's the idea. And so now I would choose to combat this fella. This is me. I would roll against him, and there are a few different symbols that perhaps I would roll. This one is good. This is going to remove 1 of his hearts. And if I ever get rid of all of them, in this case, I got rid of 2. If you ever let them all go, then you take this guy, you remove his meeple from the board here, and you take the tile and put it on the bottom of that stack. He might rise again, so he goes away for a while. Then the other symbol is this one's going to let you draw a tile. That's good. The question mark here is going to activate your own ability. I'm a good fighter, so my question mark ability would actually be just to hit him for 1 more. And then the footprint ability would be to lure a mummy. You can basically move one around, try to get it farther away from this. So you lure him into a room. Whoop, come here, and delay the end of the game. And so that's how that works. That is the other big action you'll be doing quite a bit, and that's combat. That's how you eliminate these guys. So that's generally what's going on. Create these patterns. Make sure you line up the entrances and exits. Trigger these mechanisms. Wake up the big bad. And again, when he finally wakes up after you put out 3 of these for easy mode, then you'll reveal that he's got a number of health. He's got something bad that happens. And then you take the miniature and the meeple here, and you're going to put it wherever you want, as far away as possible, and go after him. If you take him out, then you are going to win the game, and if any of them make it into this room, then you are going to collectively lose the game, and that's how you play. So I did mention at the beginning how very few people have played Run, 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 the original edition of this. Well, I've played it, and you've played it, actually. And the game was a little clunky. It was a little, in its own way, it was a little punishing. It just felt a little less than smooth. And this edition of the game, while in my opinion a lot more smooth, is still not quite there, I would say. And there's a few things that I wish they would have streamlined even more so that this game can deal with its kind of identity crisis, in my opinion. We'll get around to that. Let's talk about the components first and the bits you're going to get in the box, the look of the whole thing. I think it's very, very nice. It's a nice sized box, not too big, not too small. You're getting some lovely components in here, these chunky wood meeples that are, what is that, like a transfer? It's not screen printed, is it?
It's screen printed,
yeah. Screen printed, okay. So they're full color. They look really good. I don't know how they...
Actually, yeah, now you have me questioning. Maybe it's not screen printed.
Yeah, there you go.
It's heat transfer.
Thank you. Heat transfer. They look great. Tiles look great. The components, I think, are very good, and the artwork is very good. I do wish the meeples... This is a silly thing to want, but I want these to be actually smaller or the tiles bigger because they do block your view a little bit of where there are passages, in my opinion. Sometimes I'm like grabbing the guy and moving him to be like, oh yeah, there's a passage behind him. What did you think of that, the components?
They didn't get in my way. I really liked that distribution. I think if I would not want the meeples smaller. I think part of the charm is them being the big and kind of chunky, especially when you're looking at this as like a family weight game. You know, maybe playing with kids or something like that. So I think the tiles could have been even 5% bigger. Would have been a simple fix. But for me, it was more on the tiles, making sure that you can very clearly see which one is an entrance and an exit. And I think that could have been, I guess, not differentiated a little bit more, but maybe the border being a little bigger, bolder, you know, just to really make that clear. I think because it was more that was the problem, not that the meeples themselves were getting in the way. Okay. It was more just it was already kind of hard to see the paths on this as you get going.
Yeah, I could see that. The gameplay itself, the kind of game this is, like we said, it's a co-op game. You are going to be working together with other people to achieve things, but I do find it to have overwhelming luck. There's going to be a lot of die rolling. There's going to be a lot of just things that are simply out of your control. And there are kind of two ideas here. There's in many ways this game sort of is at odds with itself. There's the one, when we look at the gameplay, what kind of game this is, there's two ideas that I find clash a little bit. One of them is this rollicking fun, roll and hit the guys, and look at him running away, and he's trying to make it to the place. Rambunctious, silly, lucky kind of thing. The other side is abstract, pattern creation, very cut and dry and almost humorless in the way that you are like trying to create a triangle of three of the same symbol that gets you more torches so you can survive, or three different so that you can unlock that mechanism and achieve your objective. That game is very, again, cut and dry. That aspect of it. Right. And for me, it was just, again, one example of how this game oftentimes feels a little bit at odds with itself. Yeah. You know, it often gives me that feel of, ooh, it's not quite there. Why is this idea clashing with this other idea they chose to put in there? And that's the most apparent one to me, I think. Right.
I think, for me, a lot of times when we see that in games, then it leads to this kind of tension and really interesting decisions. Like, ooh, I want to go for this or this. I don't know. All right, let's rally together and choose a route. You know? And in this one, it doesn't have that healthy kind of tension feel. It feels just punishing or confusing or heartless, I guess, a little. Like, I don't know, let's give up on torches, or let's give up on the main goal because we're completely out of torches. And so it feels, I guess, just pulled in too many directions and directionless, I guess is the best word for it, more than like that exciting tension that you're buying into.
And I think you said it was partly, and I think you're right, because of the weird communication rules in this game. This game has one of those, like, you can kind of point at something on the table, but don't tell people what you're holding. Yeah. You can't reference the tiles, but you can go, right. And it's like, well, isn't that the same thing? Aren't you just giving me a dumb, like, homework assignment at that point? If I can point at stuff, then I can probably figure out how to tell you something without telling you. It's just either put them on the table and stop this nonsense. This is a kid's game or not? Is it a family game or not? Then flop your tiles and just don't be a jerk and an alpha gamer when you're playing with your children. Or we can't talk at all. Right? Yeah. I'm good with either one of those games, honestly. I think they're both interesting, and I think they both could be, engaging. I just don't like the in-between. I don't want to decipher what your rules communications are. You tell me what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Pandemic when it originally came out, and you were allowed to, the original rules, you could not show your cards, but you could, hint at them, something like that. And eventually over, many editions later, they're like, just play on the table. Yeah. It's like, just play on the table. And I feel like that is probably the easiest way to ease a family into it, and then have a variant. And that variant be, you can't show your cards, but you can talk, or tiles, but you can talk about them. Or an extra hard variant being, you can't even talk about your tiles. Sure. Something like that. I feel like the communication rules for the weight of this game, what I believe the target audience is, it should have just not been in there. If alpha gaming is a problem in your family, then implement some other rules,
Yeah.
So, or maybe this isn't the game for you.
Yeah. I also find it a little clunky that there is one of your three actions is this weird sort of release the pressure valve, action in which you're only going to do 3 times with these little tiles.
Yeah.
And then this also gives you like the chance to trade and maybe finally like throw some tiles out and pass them around. I feel like this action could have been finessed.
Right. It could have been
more like the other two. It's like you move, you explore, or you attack. Great. Or you do this one weird one that you only do 3 times, and then let me explain it to you over a page and a half, so you can get some new tiles and some torches. Are you kidding me?
I feel like it should have just been a bonus action since it's only 3 times per game.
Right.
It'd just be 3 bonuses. And again, it could have been thrown in as a module. It could have been thrown in as a the base way to play is you have all 3 available, and it's the easiest way, and you choose one of them.
Right.
And then a variant being maybe they come up randomly, something like that. I feel like it again, like you keep saying, was in contrast with what the audience for the game and what it was supposed to be. It just clunked it up, and it wasn't worth the whole set of rules. And in fact, I think in all my plays, I ended up using that more for the fast travel than anything else.
Yeah.
It was more like, we are way too separate, and we're working on our 3rd gear. Let me get to you quickly. Fine. And it was like just a big travel turn.
Yeah. And I find that feeling, unfortunately, for me, permeates the entire game. The game feels both too short, but you do the same thing so much over and over that it feels too long. The game is both too lucky and random, but too dry and abstract. It feels too punishing sometimes, but like a game for kids. There's this weird, it keeps fighting itself.
Right.
So much that I want to like it, and I keep trying and hoping to like it, but it keeps getting in its own way. I don't know, what I would do to change it or fix it. That's not, something I do, but I can't get a good grasp on this one. It keeps fighting me. That's the thing.
Right.
It's kind of like you're steering down the road and your vehicle keeps fighting you. This game keeps fighting me. Yeah. That's how that feels. So for me, I think the main takeaway, my main word that I would use to describe this game is actually frustrating. This game keeps frustrating me. It's like, why won't you just let me have fun? Stop putting up these barriers. Stop fighting me. Stop being so headstrong. I don't know. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. Anyway, I'm ready for final thoughts if you are.
Yeah. You want me to go? Or?
I can go first if you want. I don't know what your score's going to be, but
I do.
You know what my score's going to be?
No, I know what my score is going to be.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I'm going to come down to a 5 on this one. I think it's very. Look, it's again 5 is the center score, but it is below average for me. I wanted to like this game much more, and that's frustrating. And so is this game. It's one that I don't know who I would recommend this to. If you love Egypt or love cats, I don't feel like you're getting a whole lot of either one of those in this. If you love co-op games, you're not going to be cooperating a whole lot. It does not feel that way. It doesn't. You're not going to be. Ooh, that moment. Remember that moment we had when you solved the. No, you're not going to get that. This will be frustrating, I think. And that's too bad. Maybe 3rd edition will be the one that finally sings to me. But as it is right now, I'm just. It locks me up. It bothers me and makes me uncomfortable and just doesn't work for me. So 5.
I'm right there with you at a 5 as well. I think the word I kept coming to was frustrating, like you said. And I'm frustrated because the game, I feel very similar to this version as I do the first version, where it's like there's so much potential here.
Yeah.
It's absolutely adorable artwork. The production is very good, very high, especially for a family game where, you're going to be playing with kids, with a variety of ages, things like that. I think there's so much here to be had. But immediately I'm like, it's just not quite there. And the more I play it, that doesn't go away. It's not easing the entry. I mean, there were things after a couple plays that it's like, oh, we were doing that wrong, or oh, where is that in the rule book? For a family weight game, I feel like I should be able to read the rule book, have it down 90%, and be getting into the table. It should be smooth. It should have enough tension, several laughing moments, and I had none of that. It was just frustrating and very pulled focus as you're playing. But there is some neat ideas here. It just doesn't come together in a fun experience, like you said. So for me, it's a 5 as well.
All right, folks. Well, there you go. That is Run, Run, Run 2nd edition. That's a pass from both of us. We think that you can get better co-op games and that you should, because cooperative games are fantastic. So that's going to do it. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Zee Garcia.
And I'm Camilla.
Run, run, run away from this game. Sorry.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.